Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back, everybody. I know that you've heard of the Bermuda Triangle. Lots of legends go along with that. Not a place you really want to wind up, potentially. Might not be a good thing. There's been lots of missing aircraft and boats and things. Well, today we're going to talk about the drama triangle, and I suspect that it's not a place where you want to wind up as well, but she's going to tell us all about it. And she practices Reiki and energy healing and has incredible insight, and it's good to have her back on the program with us. Annie Baker. Now, I always forget this. Annie Atwood Baker or Annie Baker Atwood?
Annie Baker Atwood.
Yeah, I should have went. Anyway.
Yeah. Baker
Welcome.
was my maiden name, and I wasn't ready to give it up when I got married. So I kept it.
Sounds like a drama triangle. Welcome. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. How you been?
I'm doing really, really well. How about you?
Same. Yeah, doing great. I've missed our talks in the afternoon and the insight that you offer.
And you're awake. We're both awake. That's good because Reiki can put you to sleep.
I will tell you this. I think I'm trying to think of an isolated case, but I don't think I have one. Every time I've had Reiki, I've fallen asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really good for your sleep hygiene, which is or no, a lot of my clients are men because I'm pretty normal looking. They can just lie down. They don't have to get undressed or nothing weird. I don't touch anybody.
Sure.
And they kind of don't really know what to expect. And they're so surprised when they fall asleep. Even the ones who like fight it. They're like, I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm not going to fall asleep. And then they're like, I fell asleep. I'm like,
Same.
yeah, no, it's okay. You're supposed to.
Same exact thing. And even though, I might be a little tired, I'm just laying down. And I think of it as this way. It's a nice reason to stop.
Yes.
Just stop everything. And you're just in the Reiki zone. And then I find myself just, this is good. This is good. And then I'm out. And the funny thing is, I know every once in a while, I come a little back to consciousness and I know that I'm sleeping, but I don't care. And there was one time, I don't even think I snore, but I was snoring. And because I went with somebody else who was getting Reiki and I felt myself snoring. I heard myself snoring, but I was like, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to me either as the practitioner. You can fall asleep, you can snore, you can drool. It really doesn't matter to me.
Right.
Because it means that the energy is supporting whatever you need to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. My kids
Awesome.
think it's funny. They're like, Mom, you waggle your hands over people and make them fall asleep and you get paid for it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Yes, but it works and you feel so much better. You get clarity. It's all good with Reiki. So drama triangle is not a peaceful place to be. Mm-hmm. Tell us more.
Okay. So the drama triangle is kind of a psychological theory that's been around since the 60s. And I forget who coined the phrase, but basically there's three roles, that's why it's a triangle.
Okay.
One is the victim role, one is the perpetrator role, and one is the rescuer role. So the victim role is, this always happens to me. And you know them. No matter what, they're in a state of the world is against me. The perpetrator is, it's all your fault. We know them too. Everything is somebody else's fault. They have no responsibility for anything. And the third is the rescuer, where you're off to save everybody and I'm going to save you and I'm going to fix you and I'm going to fix you and I'm going to fix you. And by wanting to fix everybody and the situation, they never have to take responsibility for their own actions or feelings, or they're not going to do the work.
Yeah.
So the victim's not going to do the work, the perpetrator's not going to do the work, and the rescuer's not going to do the work. Now, these are very functional people, and you do get a lot done. But wherever you are in the triangle, sometimes you flip between victim and perpetrator. Sometimes, this is always happening to, it's all your fault, it's always happening. But the thing is, once you get into this triangle, it's really, really, really difficult to get out. And a lot of people don't even realize they're in it because it's a dynamic that maybe they were raised that way. Maybe that's what they saw. That's really a family dynamic or a childhood dynamic where you were the scapegoat in the family. And so all of a sudden, you've been told your entire life, it's all your fault. And so then you either become the perpetrator and repeat that it's all your fault, or you become the victim and think this is all my fault. Well, there's more to it because it's a collective. There's a reason that some global things are happening, and it's not just one person. There's a lot of different players involved. But if you get to claim that it's all your fault, you feel important. And if you get to blame, it's all your fault, you feel important. And if you get to fix everything, you feel super important. And when you're feeling super important in all of those ways, you don't have to pay attention to what you're doing or not doing. So there's a lot of excuses that come up. Or the phrase, I'm not, fill in the blank enough. We know people who put that into, I'm not, an athlete enough to do this. Guess what? That's a victim mode. And you're letting others dictate what it is that you're good enough for.
It's an interesting way to look at it, Annie, because it would have come from somebody else. We don't normally just say, I'm not blank enough. I don't think it comes out of our head. I think it comes from conditioning. I mean, I don't want to be the victim and place that on somebody else, but it's kind of where it comes from, because you don't just wake up one day and say, I can't do this. Why? There's got to be a reason why you think that. So it's probably a product of your environment, things you've been told, things you saw. Maybe it was in your childhood and you carried it along with you.
And there's a lot of evidence that social media is enhancing this.
Oh, yeah.
So you look at, the highly curated set of pictures and you think, oh, that person looks that way all the time.
Totally.
And they might. People who see me on camera and then they meet me, they're like, oh my gosh, you actually look like you. Yes.
Yep.
I am me. This is what I look like. Not a lot of makeup, not a lot of, hair products, but I think it's becoming more on TikTok. People are showing how they are putting on their makeup, men and women, and the contouring. And it is a beautiful art form. It truly, how people are able to change their look by using products is truly amazing. And they own it. This is what I want to look like on camera, and this is how I'm going to get there.
It seems that a more natural look is emerging. When you look, I forget which Kardashian posted a few weeks ago of just her hair, which is naturally curly, didn't straighten it, and then other women are kind of doing the same exact thing, and just natural. I'm not going to do anything to it. Thank you. I didn't think I'd ever thank a Kardashian, but just a natural look. I think it's so wonderful.
It is. It is.
And no filters and nothing like that.
Exactly. And as we're transitioning from needing to feel filtered, and I agree, enough is very much a product of comparing what we are. And we forget that you're perfect as you are. And if there is something that you want to change, go for it.
You have nothing to lose.
If you want to get fixed, or unless you're a dog, but nobody can fix you because you're not broken. If you want to enhance something, definitely. There's evidence that says you can do that. And if you're putting up barriers to it, recognize the barriers, see what is holding you back, and think, why is that narrative suiting me right now? Why is it that when I see somebody, walking down the street, I assume, oh my gosh, they mean ill will. Where did that come from? Smile. And there's definitely, stay safe. But I have friends who are under the assumption that, all men fill in the blank. And I'm sure that there's men out there who have all women fill in the blank.
Yep. Yeah.
And it's, what fascinates me is, what is the safety in that narrative? How is that keeping their ideas the way they want it? And where are they in that triangle?
I have to think deeper about that. But I do
like conversation for noontime.
But I like the triangle. It is so true. And I believe, looking at the three sides, that we've all gravitated to each side.
Oh yeah.
You might have bounced here to there from time to time, different positions.
Yes.
I find myself, I'm thinking back to different situations like, I was the victim. I was the, what was it?
Perpetrator.
Perpetrator. Right. Yeah.
I definitely needed to be the rescuer. That was where I was good. I could come in and save the day, and fix a situation. And what I'm finding is, it's more empowering for someone if you say, I'm here with you until the situation resolves, rather than I'm going to fix that for you.
Yeah.
I have a very, very old house, 1803, 1802. I can never remember. I was not there when it was built, but the basement floods.
Maybe in another life, you don't know.
Maybe I was. Maybe that's why it was so comforting to me. But no matter what, if the ground is frozen and we get rain, the basement floods. I have a sump pump. Someone keeps saying, well, why don't you fix it? And I'm thinking, well, because it resolves by the morning. So I could have a foot of water in the basement when I go to bed, and it's all gone in the morning. So I would rather, sit and comfort my little house and make sure that everything's in Tupperware bins, and just say, little house, you know how to take care of yourself. You know how to resolve this situation. You have been doing it for hundreds of years. So I don't need to fix you. I'll just wait it out. However, if I was thinking, oh, I need an instant this.
And what would the fix be anyway? Costly, water sealing the basement. Been through a similar situation, if I remember correctly. It is actually removing the dirt around the foundation, sealing out there. It's very invasive. And guess what? your basement, the floor is made out of a porous material that was once water anyway. So it's just water's there, water's gone. That's it.
Yeah, it resolves.
Yeah.
It resolves. And a lot of situations that you come across resolve. And so it may feel very abrupt or dramatic or upsetting. And I'm not saying that, really upsetting things and, drama, that it doesn't happen. It does. And I don't know, I've done a lot with trauma recovery, and Reiki's great for that, by the way. And it's very, very real, but it does at a certain point start to ease up and resolve. And sometimes not focusing on it gives you the breathing space. And if you think of a jellyfish, you know how they move, they contract and then they expand.
Okay.
So, I know you didn't quite see that one coming, but with grief, you're contracted. It hurts. But then you can only contract for so long before you need to expand. And allowing yourself that time to expand is what brings movement. And we talk a lot about energy always wants to move. And if you're trying so hard to grip something, your muscles get tired. your physical muscles get tired. When I was at my retirement party, there were teachers who said that they had to have a lot of tooth, work done because they clenched their teeth all the time. And like, wow, that is a physical manifestation, physically harming your teeth to try to stop, the natural flow of saying, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. And you'll notice someone who's so contracted and so believing that this is the only way that this can be, and I am going to make it till I fake it and pretend I'm super happy and, put out there this glossed over version. If you look at their necks, they're not relaxed. And I was definitely that way. My, life was going to be perfect on the outside. I made myself miserable trying to keep up with it all.
So did I. Did the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Really did. And even I remember buying a house in 2014 and just looking at it and it's like, I expected more of myself. Like I thought this would be a better house. Meanwhile, you walk by, you're like, oh my God, look at this house. It's unbelievable. And I renovated the backyard to make it more mine but I never felt like it was home. Side note, I feel that maybe I manifested that. And guess what? I don't have that house anymore.
And does it feel relaxing to be wherever you are?
To some extent, once things are resolved. However, there was a point where I had an epiphany where I just felt like, I conquered in this house. I did my thing. I don't have to do this anymore. I think it's, I'm done. Like and that happened when I was mowing the lawn, sitting on the tractor. I'm like, I think it's done. So yeah, you never know where you're going to be in life, but the triangle, we've been in all those situations where and even the fixer, I don't want to be the fixer anymore. Like I did that like way too much.
Exhausting.
Oh, and it gets to a point where I didn't try to be the fixer. These people come to me and like, I know somebody who's dealing with a lot. I'm very close with her. And I just say 3 words to her. I got you. And I mean it from my heart. Yeah. I got you no matter what. Don't worry about all this other stuff. It'll all resolve like your basement. The pieces come together. And if you need some help, I got you. Well, good. Right. It's it, but now you take care of it. You take care of it.
Right. Well, and I think sometimes when you're in the triangle, you forget to ask for help. And especially as the fixer, right? The rescuer. If I'm asking for help, I'm not doing my job. And with, someone who prefers to relish the victim mode, they don't want your help. They're perfectly happy.
Well, okay. When you encounter the victim, there's only one thing they want, and that's you to hear them.
But they're not going to change anything.
No, they're not. But as long as you can be there and listen to what they had to say. And unfortunately, there is those group of friends that the victim does reach out to because they know they're going to get validation and backed up. And it's going to, I can't believe that either. That kind of thing.
Right. And unfortunately, it takes something to get you out of the triangle. And then once you kind of look back and you say, oh yeah, I'll own my part. I was all three of those things, for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And I have a different friend set now because the friends that fit really well in the triangle, I really don't have anything in common with them anymore.
Yeah.
And that happens, and that's okay. That is okay. And I think some people are very scared of being alone, and so they would rather stay in a situation that maybe isn't the best for them.
Yeah.
Than branch out, because branching out is scary. It can feel really scary to say, this is done. This situation served its purpose and I've outgrown it. The same as your house. You finished that up. It served its purpose. It was a perfect purpose. And then you were ready to celebrate it, leave it, and say, okay. And I think we hang on to things far too long.
Agreed. And especially those people around your triangle, when you're one of those in the triangle. But I believe it goes back to here for a season, here for a reason. Yeah. So, those people were there for a reason, either to feed the victim when you played the victim, or the others. Are you always, or are most people one of the three in the triangle?
Generally, if you're having an imbalance in your life, yes. Truly happy people are not.
Okay.
And there's just some people that you look at them and they just radiate just from within this sense of peace. And they're so grounded and they're just so sure of themselves. And you just think, wow, how great to feel so sure. And that's the kind of energy, that's what I want. And those people aren't in a drama triangle. And people will try to pull them in. And they'll just, smile and nod and say, wow, is that right? Typically, they're older. The women I'm thinking of are, in their 60s, 70s. And they're like, is that right, dear?
Well, you know what? Because they lived it and they know how to push it away.
Disengage. Yeah.
How to disengage. Yeah, that's a great word. Just disengage. Because the victim is going to try and engage you. They want you to listen to their tale of woe. Same thing with the fixer. The fixer may be saying, I can fix you. I can help you. When it comes to Reiki, if you find yourself as one of the three sides of the triangle, is it usually stuck energy?
Yes. Usually, and it's a habit, and habits can be changed. That's my big thing, is if you are in a type of relationship where you're the fixer or you're the victim, or, it's always your fault, that's a habit. And as soon as you recognize a habit, you can start to change it. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to change habits, just they can be changed.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And with Reiki, one of the things I do, I'll give an example. I was working on somebody and I in the head position, and all of a sudden she had a really big coughing attack. Just, and I sat her up, I got her water, made sure she was okay. But it was all this stuck energy from her throat chakra. And she asked me about it. I said, oh yeah, we went deep. I said, you may actually feel a sore throat. And she said, I know exactly what you cleared. She said, it has been stuck there for years. And now she was, I didn't have to ask how old somebody was, but kind of the generation where women weren't free to speak their thoughts. And it was years. And she used the word transformational. She said that was a transformational experience.
And that was just with one Reiki session?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I've recently heard about the coughing thing, that you may, depending on the situation, may cough a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't believe I say this every time, and I only say it with you. I can't believe we're out of time. Like I'm not even kidding. I don't usually say that because we start and I'm like, am I looking at that correctly? Yes, we're out of time.
I know. I have a little clock that goes on. I'm like, wait.
Bizarre.
Wrap it up, Annie. Wrap it
up. But good stuff. The drama triangle is real. It is so real. And as you described it, I viewed myself, I was that. I'm a little piece of that right now. I'm not that, but we've all bounced in between at some point. Yeah. But
and there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. It was a structure that you got in, and you can choose to stay in it, or you can choose to move on.
Yeah. Clear it out. And for that, there is
Reiki can help.
And Reiki can help. Yeah, absolutely. redbootsreiki.com is your website.
Yes.
And so great seeing you again, getting together again. Yeah, definitely good stuff. And I will not see you in the triangle. I'm not going in the triangle.
No, we do not have that dynamic.
Not doing that. All right. I look forward next time we get a chance to talk.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, Annie. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.